Can I have your attention, please? We'll be starting up shortly. Good evening and welcome to the March 19th Planning Board meeting. Tonight we have a couple of public hearings that are scheduled, along with new business, some administrative review, and some other businesses. First matter on the agenda, we have a public hearing for a site plan review and a special permit at 39 and 65 Perkins Street. Also, I see that we have the site plan review on 1 Perkins Street. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, James Flood, 549 Roger Street, representing the applicant, which is 1 Perkins LLC, and also Riverfront Development LLC. It was brought to my attention today that the posting never occurred on these sites as to the plan and the notice, so I'm requesting that the matter be continued to your next scheduled meeting, which I understand is April 2nd. It has been posted today, which would satisfy the 14 days, and I think Craig got copies of it, so he knows it's been done. And we also just got comments from the city engineer today, which will give us a couple of weeks to address those, and hopefully everything will be taken care of. So I'm requesting that the matter be continued. I think it has to be because there was no posting.
Just wait, background, I did receive, I did call Planning and Development today. I did speak with Craig, I did speak with Aaron in regards to tonight's meeting, and they informed me at that time that the matter had not been posted properly, and therefore legally, if we went forward with the hearing tonight, since the notification would be invalid, that whatever happened tonight would be an invalid public hearing. Therefore, they indicated to me that the matter would have to be continued, but they indicated to me that Attorney Flood would be here on behalf of the applicant. So, saying that, that's why I didn't read the whole legal description, because of the fact that it wasn't advertised as requested on the public meeting laws. So at this point in time, the request is continue it to the next public planning board meeting, which is in 2 weeks from tonight, I believe. It is the April 2nd date, I believe. Isn't it, Craig?
Right.
Okay.
Chairman, I make a motion, we continue this matter to the meeting of April 2nd.
I'll second it.
Motion is made in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So anybody who's here for the Perkins Street projects, those matters will be on for April 2nd, and apologize for any delay due to the fact of the public notice being done properly. Sorry for that. Okay. Moving along, we do have some release of performance surety. We have the planning board will review requests from the Kazanjian Enterprises, Inc. to release remaining funds held as the performance guarantee for completion of a 10-lot subdivision along Clark Road, now known as O'Hare Way. I believe, Craig, you gave us an update on that just this evening, correct? In regards to the
Yes, there's a
handout that we received tonight?
yeah, there's a series of there is a long email exchange between Aaron Kloss and Lisa DeMeo and Joe Cady indicating that we did formally take the roadway and that the maintenance was up to our standards.
I believe was a letter of credit that was put up by Kazanjian, correct?
Yes,
I mean,
and I believe that
yeah.
it's already been drawn down once or twice as we've accepted different portions of the roadway. This is the final piece that is being requested to be released.
Okay. Any of the board members have any questions, comments, concerns?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that, based on the information we've been provided, and the fact the city has accepted the street, that we would release the performance surety bond.
Second that.
Motion's made and second to release the bond. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. 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 Chair votes yes. That is approved. All in favor? Moving along, we do have administrative review, which is the Walgreens at Middlesex Street and Wood Street. The planning board review a request by Lowell Mammoth Development, LLC, to amend a previously approved site plan and definitive subdivision plan for commercial development along Middlesex Street and Wood Street in realignment of Edward Street. The proposed amendment includes widening Edward Street on the definitive subdivision plan to conform to the approved site plan and relocation of the drive-through window on the eastern side of the parcel along Edward Street. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Mr. Chairman, I think I had sent a letter requesting that a lot of the matters pertaining to the drive-through and those other issues be continued once again. I think I put the wrong date down in my letter, but to April 2nd. There was a meeting held on site with Aaron, I don't know whether Craig was there. Were you there, Craig? Craig and Lisa DeMayo, and there's were discussions about various things in the construction of the roadway and the project. So they're making some further revisions, which I would like to bring in on the 2nd. But there were two other issues that came up. One had to do with the approved subdivision plan. On the subdivision plan that was approved, the roadway was only 45 feet. On the site plan, the roadway was 50 feet, which left room for the sidewalk. So we had a slight modification of the subdivision plan to increase the size of the roadway from 45 to 50, and I think I delivered those plans. That just to conform. And then the other plan that I submitted was an A&R plan for the widening of Middlesex Street, to accommodate the widening of Middlesex Street and the sidewalk. So that's all that's there tonight. So I can answer any questions.
Craig, do you have any comments or concerns, or to go over what the applicant has said? I know, it sounds like staff has been working with the applicant on this matter.
Yeah, we've been working with Mr. Flood and the engineers on this project for some time. As you have probably caught from Aaron, there have been a series of significant site revisions, and apparently at some point in there, for the definitive subdivision approval and the site plan approval, there was a little bit of a mismatch between the plans. The definitive amendment here requested would simply align the definitive plan with the site plan as approved, and would align the site on the Middlesex Street side through the A&R plan, again, with the widening of Middlesex Street as approved through the previous process. In addition, actually, we reviewed the A&R plan today to determine its conformance with the approved site plan. We'd actually requested at the finale of the site plan review hearing that the lot lines along Middlesex Street be shrunk to the back of sidewalk. There was a concern that the proposed A&R lines on the last subdivision plan showed a configuration that would actually bring it out of conformity with the zoning. It looks like this plan, through our review today, does do what we requested, which is that the A&R lot is directly at the back of sidewalk, so that this parcel, shown in the A&R plan, I believe is B1, that will be subdivided, that represents the back of sidewalk forward to the roadway. There's none of the grass buffer strip included in that. That's necessary for aesthetic purposes and for zoning compliance on site.
So yeah. I think the purpose of the widening of the Edward Street is to conform. I don't know how that got by all of us, and the one has to do with they're working up there now, and we want to keep going, so.
Any of the board members have any questions?
So that's the only thing you're looking for tonight is to conform the plan to the approved subdivision plan.
With the site plan. Yeah.
Everything else is going to be off.
Well, I brought the A&R plan in, but I think Aaron felt, I mean, he could approve that himself, but he felt that I should probably bring it to the board so you people can see what's going on. I think that's the purpose, right, Craig? On the A&R?
Yeah, staff does have the ability to approve an A&R, obviously, as often happens, but because you brought in both subdivisions in a timely fashion that would enable them to be considered together before the planning board, it didn't seem any reason to bundle them, as well as that they really are both accomplishing the same thing. So to continue to split different pieces of this up more so it's less coherent, I think is actually more complicated rather than presenting two different documents that both have the same purpose, which is to align the subdivision approval with the site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, so are you asking for a continuance, Mr.
Not,
Fleming?
not as far as the widening of the road. There are other issues coming in about the drive-through. There's location of the dumpsters in the back. There's some other concerns about the roadway itself that we're going to come back in on.
Okay.
But, I mean, I want to conform both plans. I want them both to be the same. And that gives us room for the sidewalk. But we will come back on the 2nd on those other issues.
So the only difference is that you're increasing the street
5 feet.
to 50 feet to match what we had in the site plan
Site plan, right,
initially.
yeah.
And that will enable you to put a sidewalk in.
Correct. As proposed, so.
Yeah, I think we certainly want a sidewalk, so.
Need a motion on that, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, what about the A&R? Do we have to do a motion on that too, or consider that now in the future?
We move to approve the A and R at the same time?
They should probably be two different votes, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, you could do them together.
All right. I'd make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the modification of the definitive subdivision plan to conform to the approved site plan with the widening of the road.
Okay, we do have a motion before the floor. Any comments? A second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion's made to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. That is approved.
I make a motion to approve the A and R plan.
I'll second that as well.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, chair votes yes. So we did approve those, so you're coming back?
Be back the 2nd, right. With the other changes, the drive-through, they wanted more plans, so we're doing that. And like I said, they did meet with Lisa out there, and there was some discussion about the roadway, so.
If I may, Chairman, the
Yes.
board should be aware there are several minor modifications, including the slight relocation of the drive-through. One of the larger pieces, and I don't know of what interest this was to you at the time of approval, but it looks like due to the soil conditions, unfortunately, the proposed pervious pavement for Edward Street will not function as proposed. So this is part of the reason for the delay. Lisa has asked for updated stormwater calculations to ensure that an impervious surface, a typical, asphalt hot top to Edward Street could be contained in the drainage. I know that was a long discussion about the drainage area, the retention basin. The easements have been secured with the city as required, but now we want to make sure that if that change needs to be made, that it will function as necessary.
That's the big issue that we're discussing.
So the issue coming in, will be set for April 2nd, or is the proposed
April
date coming?
2nd,
Oh,
yeah.
you'll have it ready by then?
We'll be fine. It'll not be the 14th, because I'll be down south.
Okay, so the only matters we had before us tonight was to make the site plan match the subdivision, which we did because of that 5 feet for the sidewalk, and then just endorse the A&R plan, which is by right of approval.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll see you on April 2nd. Thank you.
Chairman, should there be one additional motion to continue the site plan element to the April 2nd meeting, or did I miss that in my notes here?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to continue the other administrative matters to the meeting of April 2nd.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Here are none. The chair votes yes. Matters continue April 2nd. Under old business, we have no comment at this point in time. Under other businesses, we have notices from abutting towns. Any comments on those? Hearing none. Make a motion, place them on file.
So moved?
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We did have an A&R report, it's in our file for our consideration. We don't need a vote on that. Anybody have any comments on the ZBA notices? Anything on the ZBA notices? Hearing none.
Make a motion, we place those notices on file, Mr. Chairman?
Motion's on file.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposition, hearing none. The matter is approved. Any general correspondences? I'll start with planning development. Any general correspondences coming up in the future, Craig, to bring to our attention?
Yeah, just one matter that we had delivered today. There is a new subdivision proposal for Trotting Park Road. I believe the address is 208 Trotting Park. This may have come before the board before. It's was submitted by a woman who lives on a long driveway. I believe it's a shared driveway or two long driveways for her and her daughter. And they would like to split a lot and create an additional lot for a family member. But because of our common driveway provisions, they actually need to get a subdivision approval, but for a private way. So really what you'd be approving is the build-out of a common driveway, but to the requirements that we have here with some waivers as requested, and to ensure that it meets the minimal requirements of fire department, police department, and we'll bring those forward for you to review.
I think we did see that one before.
It's
Sounds
my-
familiar to me.
Yeah, it's my understanding that it was brought forward at least once in the past, and that it was not fully engineered at that point, and that final step had never been taken. So now there's fully engineered plans, we have drainage information, so that will be provided for the board's review.
Okay. Thank you. Any of the board members have any correspondences?
I have a little bit I just want to report about the historic board, Tom.
Sure, absolutely.
There's a lot of work that goes on, the staff of the historic board, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that the public never really, I don't think it suffers from some exposure. Our meetings are not televised, they're held in the Arthur Hammer Conference Room or in the Pollard Library, they're not equipped for public view, and there's a lot of work that goes on there that goes, I think, generally unnoticed. One of them being, we have on every agenda, we have an enforcement of violations update. In all of the the historic districts throughout the city, there are standards, there are historic district standards to follow. They're building standards and architectural standards. And if they're not complied with, then the historic board staff issues fines, they issue warnings, that sometimes they go out and visit with people and, talk to them, try to help them through their issues if they have any. And we publish a monthly report. I'll just pass it out to the board members so you guys are aware of it. It gets pretty extensive, and there's a lot of detailed work that goes into that. And the historic board staff is to be, commended for their amount of work that they did. Currently, we're looking at other historical districts around the city and strategizing as to how to go into them and do similar. This is mostly concentrated downtown here, although there are a few on the outskirts. We recently had a case up in the Highlands of a very historic home it was totally neglected. And it's reached the point where it may have to come down and be demolished. So the big issue there is demolition by neglect. How do you prevent that from happening, and what jurisdiction does the historic board have over that? It's a shame to lose, very historic properties to neglect. It's just not right. So we're trying to address that as well. And the only other thing I wish to report on tonight is, with all that they do, they've found the time to publish an historic board newsletter that goes out to over 700 people and organizations around the city. It's called Presence from the Past, and it's very well done. There's a lot of historical information in it and current initiatives by the historic board. If anybody would like to get that, you can go on the city's website and just go through the links to the historic board and email the administrator or his assistant to get it. It's very, very well done. And in the future, from time to time, as we have other initiatives of importance, I'd just like, a few minutes to explain them.
Absolutely.
And to talk about them, particularly as they affect our board. Oftentimes, we have to work together on different things. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other board members have any general correspondences?
Can I actually add one note, Chairman?
Sure.
I apologize, I was actually
No
supposed
problem.
to, I
Anytime,
was supposed to prompt you so you can make this announcement, so it would carry a little bit more gravitas over the airwaves, but LTC is actually moving channels, I believe, tomorrow, at some point in March, from municipal channel 10, where everyone is used to watching the shows, to I believe it's channel 95.
95, yeah, I remember seeing that in the paper, they were moving it up.
Yeah,
I
I
forgot what number it was, I know it
Yeah,
was
so
in the 90s.
LTC has asked us to remind everyone who watches these meetings that these meetings will
Right.
now, from now on, be on channel 95.
Okay. So if anybody's watching today, from now on is last live from channel 10, which will be going 10.
Yeah, I didn't
Channel
bring any
95, when we
particular
meet again on
sign-off material,
April
but
2nd. But Jerry, and your wife looks, she won't look your hair. Yeah, right. She'd be like, you weren't there, was nothing on, were you booted down the hall again?
Someday it'll be HD.
That report can list anything from downspouts to painting that's required to signage to, it gets pretty detailed.
A lot of them still have the signage in the windows with the lights, and
Yeah, there's a lot of no-nos.
a lot of the neon lights in the windows, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just to find them and to work with them, it's,
So usually, when you have a violation like that, usually a letter goes out, or something to try
usually a letter goes
to try
out.
to bring them into
Yeah,
compliance.
maybe 2 letters, depending on how the board feels.
To bring them into compliance and suggestions, I mean, what they say, what has to be done to bring them into compliance.
Right, exactly. And, things
I'm
look
sure
pretty
some people
good.
respond a little faster than others.
Yeah, of course, there's always those that drag their feet.
People are like, well, it's always been
Or
that
don't
way.
respond at all. Oh, yeah, we've had some wicked cases.
So obviously, the board is willing to work with the applicant, is when it gets to failure to correct the problem, is when you get into the find out.
Always willing to work with any of these people, of course, always.
Richard, is this paid staff that does this work for the Historic Board, or
Is it what?
is it a paid staff that does work for the Historic Board? or-
Yeah, Kim is Zanino.
Uh-huh.
She's Steve Stoll's, who's the administrator.
Right.
Kim is his assistant, and I believe there's an intern now, but I'm not totally sure of that. That comes and goes, I think. So there's not much of a staff, really. And they work with a lot of the applicants that come here and their, architecture and stuff. It's a big job.
Any board members have any further comments? If not, I believe a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Second?
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. We have adjourned. Thank you. Good night, everyone.